Well, hello there, motherfuckers, and welcome to your Fastlane 2019 review. And I can't even believe that there was another pay-per-view between Elimination Chamber and WrestleMania. When you look at this show, there was no need to have this show. They set up a few things on Raw and SmackDown to warrant the show, but to be perfectly honest, they could have easily bypassed this show. This was by far, and I don't mean to use hyperbole, so we'll just say of the year, this was way more boring than Royal Rumble, way more boring than Elimination Chamber. I couldn't get into anything on this show. I was actually, believe it or not, doing my taxes online during this show, but for the good people here on YouTube, I'm doing the show because, I don't want to miss a show. People want to see me review the show. I have fun reviewing the show. I have more fun reviewing the show than I do watching the show, which is sad because why do I have fun? Because I know people are going to enjoy it on here. So let's get right to the show. So the first match, we've got the Usos defeating the Miz and Shane. So, the Miz fucks up. He loses, kind of like during the match that they had at Elimination Chamber. Loses the match. One of the Usos gets his knees up. He goes for a frog splash, which looked pretty good, which kind of proves that, the wrestlers who are not even known for high flying can do these moves. That's why even Ryback started doing planches at the end of his run, because it was like a joke already. These guys think that they're amazing, like Ricochet and stuff. They think they're the elite because they could do these flipping moves. And the Miz just showed right there that he could do a frog splash just as good as Seth Rollins. Okay, we won't go. I'll give him that. Rollins does a better frog splash. Calm down. But I'm just saying, the Miz, his frog splash didn't look bad, so that kind of just proves it right there. That you don't have to be under 200 pounds to be athletic. So anyway, so we know that the Miz could probably do these athletic moves if he wanted to, but he doesn't because he'd rather not get injured, and he hasn't had any major injury since being in the WWE. He stated that. So this was a pretty decent match. I like the part where Shane cut off one of the Usos in midair. How about one of the Usos kicking out of the Miz's skull-crushing finale? Now, I talked about this in one of my SmackDown reviews. Why is it that all of a sudden when a wrestler gets into a tag team, he's automatically weaker? I mean, that's just ridiculous. When The Miz has been involved in 30-minute matches with Seth Rollins, and he's main evented against John Cena, he's gone the distance with John Cena, all of a sudden, I could barely beat Jimmy Uso, I can't even keep him down on the mat to pin him. That just looks flat out ridiculous when you think about it. He's kicking out of that move. Give me a break. That's his finishing move. They've sacrificed that move also they could get that near fall pop. I mean, how many moves have they sacrificed and made the wrestlers look really bad? All these finishers getting kicked out of. Can you imagine if somebody kicked out of Hulk Hogan's leg drop back in the day, or someone kicked out of the Stone Cold Stunner other than The Rock? Not even The Undertaker a lot of the time would kick out of a Stone Cold Stunner. Usually that would be it. That would be the end of the match, and everybody understood that. But can you imagine if they sacrifice the big leg drop at the end of a Hogan match just so they could get a pop? It's no one even gives a shit about these matches. So we'll move on to the end here. You already know that, these moves mean nothing. It doesn't bear me really, reiterating that for the 1,000th time. So this went a little bit different. We all thought that it was going to be The Miz turning on Shane, but swerve, it's Shane turning on The Miz. So I guess that was okay. Shane's punches looked a little bit better than normal. He did it in front of Miz's father. You know, he held Miz's dad's face. I don't know why they didn't just go for a fake punch. You know, that would have been better. But, you know, he put his hands on his dad. I don't know. They could have done a fake punch. He could have fell backwards into the crowd. They could have caught him just to, you know, have some indie workers sitting behind him to catch him as he falls, just to make it look a little bit better. But, I don't know. You know, it was all right, I guess. We all expected it. It was very, very predictable, which kind of hurt it. And I know that not everything has to be unpredictable in wrestling. Sometimes being able to predict it would be, you know, some people would argue with this, that sometimes it needs to be predictable in order to tell a story, because we've pretty much seen it all. But I don't know. This really, like, after months and months and you could see it coming, that's a little bit ridiculous. Like the fact that you set up the team just so Shane could turn on him, when The Miz should be so much further along in his career. Instead of feuding with Shane McMahon, is this going to be over the World Cup? And, you know, it would have made more sense Miz turning on Shane, because Shane stole his spot during the World Cup. You know, so I don't understand, like, why Shane is turning on The Miz. Is it because he's frustrated? I don't, you know, it doesn't really make sense now that they did the swerve. So I can't wait. No, actually I can wait, because I'm not looking forward to it, but I'm going to look forward to reviewing how they try to explain this one, because whenever they try to do an explanation on Raw and SmackDown, they always fail in a massive, massive way. They never could explain any story without, oh, there was this, but there was, you know, it's always some kind of kooky, dog ate my homework kind of story. And they're going to do the same thing. You know, they're not going to know how to tell this story now that they did the swerve. So look for that to happen on SmackDown. Then we had Asuka defeating Mandy Rose. This wasn't a bad match. Mandy Rose, to me, is better than Sasha Banks and everything. She looks more believable in the ring. You know, she doesn't have to resort to, like, stupid moves and shit. Seems like she's got her basics down, but she looked good in there against Asuka. But the finish of this match was so stupid. You know, first they have, like, Sonya Deville's on the outside looking under the ring apron. She doesn't find anything. I don't know if that was a botch, like if something was supposed to be there. Later on in the match, she looks on the other side, finds a kendo stick, and then Mandy runs into the ropes, and then she falls. And the story there is supposed to be like Mandy was supposed to have tripped on the ring apron because it was like still up. The apron was like on the apron, if that makes sense. It was up on the edge of the ring. So, but her foot doesn't get twisted in it. Like, how do you fall on something? That's like tripping over a blanket. It would be different if your foot got twisted up in the blanket, but her foot didn't get twisted up, and it looked fake as fuck. Then, like, Tom Phillips, or whatever the hell his name is, he tries to say, oh, where her foot, like, got caught on the apron itself on the edge of the ring. Okay. So, you know, now there was not even any point, because then it wouldn't, the story they're trying to tell is that it's Sonya's fault for doing that. When, at the end of the day, I'm just basically saying to myself, why isn't it Sonya Deville in there fighting Asuka? Wouldn't that be a better match, considering that Sonya's the MMA girl? You know, they could have had so much more out of Sonya Deville. I mean, honestly, you know, and now they see that they had a missed opportunity there, you know, because now we know that she's LGBT, and they could have had, they didn't have to go through all that Balor nonsense. You know, if they got to know the girl, they would know her orientation. They could have made money off of that. What a bunch of dummies. You know what I'm saying? Even when they try to be PC and fit in with the culture, with the PC culture, which, by the way, I'll do a separate video on. Fox wants that shit to stop. Thank God for that. But they're going to be so stubborn. You know, I really hope that Fox just drops them. I'd rather that. That would be awesome. Then we can make videos on here and gloat about how Fox dropped their asses because they're so shit poor. But, I don't even know if that's going to happen. You would think, like, if the product was bad, why would Fox even give them an offer? I understand it's a big brand name, but, I mean, look at this fucking show. So, that finish was abysmal. The match really wasn't, but the finish was. Then backstage, we have Kofi Kingston. He's waiting outside, to see Vince, and then New Day comes along. Big E and Xavier, they tell him, let's go inside. Vince McMahon says that he's been waiting for Kofi. That didn't make any sense. But anyway, once again, just like during the promo, during the segment when he was replaced by Kevin Owens, they're like talking for him and everything. And Big E is like doing a good job, like promo wise here, like saying the points to Vince. And meanwhile, Kofi's just staying there. And he looks like totally beta here. I'm just like he did on SmackDown. I'm just gonna stay silent and tell you, let you tell me what to do. Like, he's a fucking wrestler. He's been there for 11 years. That should tell you right there. From a kayfabe perspective, that's why you've been there for 11 years, because you don't know how to jump on an opportunity. You rather just, okay, you want to replace me? My friends are gonna fight my battles for me. That just made him look so bad as a character. To have these two just doing the talking for him. Meanwhile, Big E's standing there looking like a star, sounding like a star, and we're crying for Kofi needs his opportunity. Jeez, like, first of all, I don't get what people see in Kofi when he's the worst out of the three on the mic, and I think Xavier's more athletic than him, to tell you the truth, in a lot of respects. So I don't really know when Big E is the funniest of the group and he's the most charismatic and he seems like he would do the best on his own. Where does Kofi, fit into this equation? I always get accused of talking bad about Kofi and not recognizing him for his talents. It's just like, I think he's really overrated. And you schmucks didn't even care about him until recently. Until WWE told you to care about him. Because all of a sudden it was time. Because they didn't have anybody else. And they don't want to put, like, for example, they've got someone super athletic that they're doing nothing with. Shelton Benjamin. There's Rey Mysterio. There's Andrade. All these people that deserve opportunities and have lots of charisma and have a great look to them. But they're going back to Kofi Kingston. It's take number 63 of Kofi Kingston's pushes. I mean, how many pushes is this guy going to get? And if they give him his moment, this is the worst era that there's ever been. So congratulations, you won the title in an era that no one's watching. So they make a triple threat match. Great, fantastic. What's up next? Vince tells him the match is next. He gets in the ring and the match is not next. It's going to be later tonight. It's going to be a handicap match. The Bar comes in, beats him down. I was like, okay, at least they're going to beat him down so maybe they could tell a story at the end where maybe Kofi's going to, like, go for the title injured, kind of like Daniel Bryan at WrestleMania 30. Remember when Triple H beat him down? They had the really good match, and then he would go on to the triple threat to win the title. I didn't want Kofi to win the title. I'm just saying that would have been a better story to tell. But then that's it. They end it right there. The Bar beats them down. They put their foot on top of them, beat him. And that's all we would see for Kofi for the end of the night. No rebuttal, no nothing. See you later, Kofi. See you on SmackDown, whatever, you schmuck. And then we've got the Revival defeating Ricochet and Aleister Black and Gable and Bobby Roode. And right here, I don't know where this even came from out of nowhere. Like, they said there's no rematch clauses. I know they mentioned it, I think, on SmackDown during a promo, just out of nowhere. And thank God for that. Thank God they got out of that rematch clause bullshit that subjected us to thousands and thousands. But it doesn't even matter because they're still going to subject us to the thousands and thousands of rematches. They had it to fight tirelessly to get back in this spot. How? Who did they beat to get into the spot? Aleister Black and Ricochet. They're here on the roster, and they, like, right here would have been a good opportunity. Like, okay, they're going to start winning. How do they... I know I say this all the time in my Raw and SmackDown reviews, but how do they look at Aleister Black and say, that guy's a tag team wrestler? Especially after his first night there, they had him beat Elias, then beat Andrade. And Andrade gets to have a U.S. title match later on in the show. But Aleister Black gets to be in a losing tag team. Like, how did they, like, gauge this shit? I'm just amazed, but whatever. It was a very fast-paced match. It was very spotty. The Smarks didn't even really seem to fucking care about it, but, you know, I'm sure Meltzer's gonna say that this was, like, probably 3 3/4 stars or something. I'm just like, yeah, it's just... These are just these matches where I'm just saying, oh my god. And on Instagram... there's a guy, Explicit Wrestling, who's a friend of mine who's on there. He's got a good Instagram page, so I'll shout him out. I saw that you commented on WWE's Instagram where you said, why does this, what caption exist where they go, are you guys superheroes? And then they go on, they tag Ricochet and Aleister Black. That was super cringy, and I'm glad you called them out on that. Then it was, Samoa Joe defeating Andrade, Rey Mysterio, and R-Truth. And R-Truth and Carmella came to the ring rapping, and I mean, they added like extra verses and stuff like that, and it was, you know, I don't understand, like, they made fun of R-Truth like years back. Remember Michael Cole said, shut up, like, you keep singing the same song over and over, and then he would be doomed like a year later to go back to singing the same song. But anyway, Joe just wins this match. I was pretty bored throughout. I mean, like, how am I bored in a match with Rey Mysterio? I don't get that, but somehow I am, because maybe it was the same match I just saw on SmackDown. But I don't know, it was just like nothing was clicking here. It just was boring. Then we had Sasha and Bayley defeating Nia Jax and Tamina. They're like running circles around these two monsters. It's so fucking phony. And then at the end, you know, they beat on them after the bell. Then Beth Phoenix gets up to start defending Sasha and Bayley. Team Cringe, we should fucking call them. So Beth Phoenix gets up and she throws a shot at Tamina. And then Tamina and Jax just beat her up. And I don't know if this is going to be a WrestleMania match or whatever the case may be. Natalya comes out. They just beat her up. And, you know, this would have been great had they actually won against Bayley and Sasha. Like, I don't get it. Get beat. Then after the match, they got to get their heat back right away. Like, okay, so then just make Sasha and Bayley look weak after the match. They did what they wanted to do. Get Team Cringe to win so they could just go on to the next thing. Like, there's no consistency here. Like, if they're the monsters, then they should be winning all the time pretty much. And then it would be like, okay, now we need to call in the legend, Beth Phoenix. You know, so because she's the only one who could stop these monsters, because like she's like probably the strongest diva besides Jazz or China. So, you know, I don't get the story here. You know, oh, they're losers, but look how dominant they are. They're dominant losers. Daniel Bryan defeated Kevin Owens, and Kofi Kingston's not in this match. It's Mustafa Ali, the Lion King guy. So, they get into this match just to have Ali in there. And Bryan beats Ali. Kevin Owens is a non-issue here. You know, Eric Rowan interfered, prevented him from winning. So, there was no point in even having this a triple threat match. You know, just, I guess, so he didn't have to pin Owens' shoulders to the mat. But now, everyone was chanting, Kofi! Oh my god, I just can't watch this. They're gonna say, give the crowd what they want, Brad. You don't understand, this people want Kofi. This was a super cringe, smarky crowd, first of all. And second of all, it's like, they get brainwashed by WWE. They gave Kofi to them, and then they pulled Kofi away. Like, look how, like, stupid it is. Like, First of all, they put Kofi in the chamber just because they had no one else to replace Ali. Even though they have Rey Mysterio on the roster. Which is like, I don't even understand how you don't put Rey Mysterio in the chamber. But they didn't want to do that, so they just shoehorned Kofi in there. Kofi lost, as he should, because he's not a main eventer. He's not a viable world champion. He's not a marketable champion. He doesn't look like a champion. He's not a champion, okay? He's a good, talented guy, but he's a mid-carder. Some people deserve to be mid-carders. That's just how it is. It just, like I said in the past, there's just some people that just don't look like they could be world champions. You know, it's just the thing. It's like, can you imagine if Val Venus or D'Lo Brown, great talented guys that I love from the Attitude Era, but you would not buy them as world champions? It's just not something that would look right on the screen at the time when you had so many other talented people. So, but anyway, so WWE gave them Kofi. Didn't want Kofi to be a main eventer because he's not a main eventer, but now the crowd wants it. Now all of a sudden, this 11 years thing is just all of a sudden it's like this. I like Kofi. I want him in the Mania match. And they're probably going to do that. That's probably why they're doing it. They bait and switched everybody so it could be like, hey everybody, Kofi Mania at Mania, get it? Because it's WrestleMania and it's Kofi Mania. Look how they fit together. You guys are dumb. It's just so... The whole thing is so cringy. It's just awful that Kofi Kingston will be main eventing at Mania. Just picture that. Just how bad of a main event that is. Even if it's a great match, that's just a bad main event based on a marquee, perspective. Like, you imagine if you actually put that on the marquee, like, the fuck? I know people are gonna fight me and say Bryan, but at least Bryan's got a great character. Kofi is just standing there while people are talking for him. He can't even come up with a good argument. He's probably like, McMahon's right, I shouldn't be in the match. And like the guy, they're trying super hard to try to like get you to believe that Kofi deserves to be in it. Big E's like on all cylinders, like, yeah, Kofi's gotta be in there. And I'm just like, Big E, you're giving a good effort, man, but no one's gonna buy that shit that Kofi wants to be in, except the super smarts that were in the crowd. Then in the I guess the women's main event, we could call it right now, it was Becky Lynch and Charlotte. It's so stupid. Becky's coming down on the crutch, doing that cell job, that inconsistent cell job of hers. And, it looks like she could barely walk, but when she gets in the ring, it's like she can move without the crutch for some fucking reason. And it's just like stupid. Then Ronda, who beat the shit out of Becky on Raw because she hates her so much. Ronda comes out. She's like smirking. She gives a single shot to Becky. It causes disqualification, so now she could technically be in the match at Mania. And I'm just like saying to myself, she just beat the shit out of her on Raw. Now all she wants to do is just punch her. You got the point across on Raw. You hate her guts and you want to tear her apart. And that you're not taking it from the crowd anymore. Fast forward to the pay-per-view, it's like, well, hey, look at that. It's a disqualification. Like, they made it all like hokey and stupid. And then that was it. It was like Charlotte's just looking like, oh, what did you do? And like, I'm just like, the fuck was that? They had a good angle on Raw. Ronda was getting mean. She was getting aggressive. She beat the shit out of Becky. Now all of a sudden, it's like, it's back to where we started with. I'm goofy Ronda. Just like, are we back to that again? After all that progress you made on Raw with her, like, oh, this is the Ronda that people wanted to see. Tonight was like Fastlane. It's the pay-per-view. It's the big event. And one punch from Ronda, and that's all we get to see from her. Like, they should have been all kicking the shit out of each other and everything. Oh, the man once gets a punch, and now she's in the match because she got punched. How fucking dumb does that look? She qualified for the match because she got punched. Like, holy shit, like, this is such a bad Mania. Kofi Kingston in the main event, Becky Lynch qualifying for a match due to a disqualification, Ronda not sure if she's gonna be a heel or not, Brock Lesnar's not even there to build for Seth Rollins. We all know he's gonna, like, show up in a week or two. Like, Batista on Instagram to promote a match. Just maybe skip Mania this year. I mean, this is, I know we say this every year, but, like, every year it gets worse and worse with the Mania build. Every year it seems like they get further and further away from the point of Mania. From, you know, one of the things about Mania used to be the hype of getting there. That was one of the big things about it. Besides the event itself, it was the road to WrestleMania. Now the fucking road is more like a dirt road. It's like a fucking dead end is what it is. Because when we get to Mania, it just, I don't know, it feels like, you know, I'm just saying, it feels like it's like just a supercar, just like a pay-per-view that's just, you know, like, it feels just about as special as Backlash did. You know, like, if it was good, but you knew it wasn't one of the big ones, but it was still going to be a good show. Like, here it's like, okay, we know it's going to be a decent show. We know there's going to be a few things on Mania that we like, a lot of things that we don't like, but I don't know. At one point, it's going to be like Mania is just going to be completely fucking horrible. And I got a feeling that this year is going to be one of those moments when we do realize it. You know, it's going to be like, we're going to look at it and we're going to be like, oh my God. So, hey, it's time to kill some time because, you know, we can't just end this at 3 hours. Like, honestly, there's so much worthless shit on here, but for some way we got to get it as close to 4 hours as possible. Well, they settled for 3.5 hours tonight. They had a little bit of mercy. Not as much mercy as they did for the Chamber, but they had Elias play a song. Lacey Evans prayed herself out there again for no fucking reason. They obviously don't know what to do with her. They're buying time until they could decide, obviously. Then Orton comes out of nowhere, RKO's Elias. Then AJ Styles jumps up and, you know, hits him with the phenomenal forearm. None of these guys, like AJ was just a WWE champion a few months ago, doesn't even have a spot on the card. Neither does Orton. So he upgraded from the backstage, and now he got to be in the ring for like 2 seconds. And Elias is there talking about WrestleMania, and he doesn't even have a match scheduled. I'm telling you, it's going to be the same thing. I've been saying it for weeks now. It's going to be the same thing that it was last year. Elias is going to just play the guitar at Mania. He's just going to do a little in-ring spot. Then someone's going to come, like a legend or something like that, or another star, and like maybe John Cena will come out and beat him up again, or something like that. Or somehow, some way, maybe they'll convince The Undertaker to come out and tombstone him, or Kane, or something like that. Look for something like that to happen at Mania. Don't look for anything big or special. Don't even expect a match from him, because they consider Elias to be a novelty at this point. Even though he seems like he could probably be the biggest star on the roster, in my opinion, but that's not how they view him. Then in the main event, it was the Shield defeating Drew McIntyre, Bobby Lashley, and Baron Corbin. They confirmed that this was going to be their last time that they were going to be together. I heard that one before. But honestly, they said that Ambrose is going to be leaving. He's going to be gone. It's going to be very interesting to see if Renee Young doesn't follow him out the fucking door. I don't know. But anyway, thank God. I like Ambrose. I've said that time and time again. They fucked up his heel run. But I don't want to see the guy go. But in a way, I'm kind of happy because they were never going to get out of this rut. I mean, they were going to always go back to the Shield because you just see that they don't know what they want to do. They want Roman Reigns to be a big part of their company. They also want Seth Rollins to be a big part of their company. It's going to be very interesting to see how they work that world title scene. But as long as Ambrose is there, they're always going to sort of kind of want to every few months go back to the Shield and find everything. There's always going to be some excuse to go back to it. So, I mean, I am so sick and tired. Because, like, the thing is with Corbin, Bobby Lashley, and Drew McIntyre, I like all of these guys. I don't like them together. Get them the fuck apart, because these guys are too good and too charismatic and too awesome to be together in a 6-man tag. Like, these guys should have been spread across the card, like, in their own matches. But the past couple of weeks, they're like a team. And for what reason? And it's like, it just shows how much they don't give a shit, WWE. Because look at Corbin. He's still wearing a fucking dress shirt. I understand, okay, maybe he wants to wear a pair of black slacks out there instead of tights. But he's not the GM anymore. Why is he wearing the dress shirt? What is the... I mean, and that's been for months. He hasn't been the GM since December. And they're still keeping him in that same attire. Like, are they forgetting or they don't care? I mean, the clothes are on his body. He's an individual. You think maybe he'd take them off? I'm just saying to myself during this match, thank fucking God. This match was so long. It was over 20 minutes. They're fighting around the arena. And I'm just saying to myself, okay, I know we don't see that every night. I know we don't see that like every month. But I'm just saying enough is enough already. We've seen the Shield in the crowd. We've seen Rollins jump off the balcony. We've seen it 1,000 fucking times. We've seen the power bomb through the table 1,000 fucking times. The Shield got their win. Great. We all knew they were going to win. Thank fucking God. What are they going to do with Roman at WrestleMania, though? I mean, honestly, who's he going to wrestle at Mania? I couldn't even tell you. Unless they want to do maybe Lashley and Roman or Roman and Drew or something along those lines. But they haven't even built it up properly. And now, like, Drew, Bobby, and Corbin, like, I don't know if they have heat or they don't, because they lose some, they lose some, they win some, they lose some. It's like, I don't even fucking know anymore. Like, and all I'm just saying is, I am just so sick of seeing the fucking Shield. I just wanted to get to the end of this, just so we could solidify it, that we never have to fucking see them together again, ever. I'm just saying, because the thing that pisses me off so much about the Shield and the reunions that they do is the simple fact that you had Roman Reigns beat John Cena. You went in with a lot of heat on that match and everything, and it was a great match. I loved that match. It was good. It was good for Roman, and you know, it was the right thing for Cena to do in that case. And you just completely fucked up his momentum, and you had him go back to the Shield. Like, not even 4 years had passed, and we were already back doing the Shield shit. It was ridiculous. And they've gone back to it several times. And yet it killed Ambrose's, like, great heel run, because they just, that's all, they knew they were going to do the Shield thing the moment Roman returned. And they did it. And holy shit, it was just, I mean, I just, you know, it was like I was happy for Roman to be back, but like, back to the Shield already? I mean, wouldn't it have been better to just have Roman look strong coming back? I know they wanted to do one last hurrah because Ambrose is about to leave, but this is why Ambrose is leaving. I think he's just fucking sick of the ups and downs, the left to the right, not getting anywhere. He had the chance to gain some steam, to possibly be in the main event scene, you know, with a great heel character, and they fucked it up. They did such a horrible job with his. They started off the right way. When he became heel, it was the right night, it was the right feel, it was the right amount of heat, and they killed it all within an instant. Classic WWE, classic botching, classic cringe by them, as only they can do. You know that only WWE could fuck something up just as bad. And I don't know if Ambrose is planning on going to AEW. He's not going to have a lot of luck there. We all know that. But anyway, yeah, that was Fastlane in a nutshell. Very boring fucking pay-per-view. It was a disaster. The crowd chanting Kofi and marking out for him like ruined it for me even more. I mean, this really just showed me that, like, the current crop of wrestling fans, why are you catering to them? Now we're gonna get Kofi Kingston in our fucking main event at WrestleMania because you fucking goofballs are like, ha, he's been there for 11 years. All of a sudden, you guys respect wrestlers. You fucking, you know, this is the funny thing. It's like, you loved Mustafa Ali, and you were so happy that he was, you know, promoted to the main roster. But then, like, you fucking, like, boo him out of the building. You gave him the Rey Mysterio at the Royal Rumble 2014 treatment. You know, so we respect wrestlers that have been there for a while. Okay, so then you just boo everybody else and you heckle all the wrestlers with Kofi Kingston's name. Like, don't you see just how contradictory that is? Don't you see just, like, how big of hypocrites you fucking are? Low class motherfuckers, I have to say, if I ever did see some or hear some. I mean, really, like, you're going to go on this whole rant, you know, on your YouTube channels and in your dirt sheets about how Kofi deserves the WrestleMania spot. He deserves to be world champion because he's been there for 11 years. Roddy Piper was there for how many fucking years? Like 15, 16 years straight, and he didn't get a world title. Same thing goes for Superfly Jimmy Snuka. Same thing goes for, you know, who just passed King Kong Bundy and didn't do a video on him, but King Kong Bundy, God rest his soul, man. That was a true fucking star right there. I think did I mention it in my Raw review? Anyway, big fan of that guy. Anyway, when wrestlers used to look like wrestlers. But, you know, it's just, man, this whole fucking company is a mess. And I see a lot of opportunities here for big stars, you know, Daniel Bryan, Elias, The Miz. There's great opportunities here for big stars, you know, but it's just like they don't know how to get to the next level. They don't know how to bring them to the next level. They don't give these guys opportunities to shine. We just talked about Dean Ambrose. The guy could have been a huge fucking star. But, of course, the minute they see a star gleaming, they have to fucking shoot it out of the sky with cringe. And because, you know, they said it, because Vince McMahon actually said it. He said it to Becky Lynch, to Cringy Lynch, right, on Raw. He says, no one's bigger than the WWE. You know, so guess what? That's pretty much it. You know, that's how they truly fucking feel. So, you know, we could have big stars, but we don't want to have big stars because we want the company to be the biggest thing. Well, who makes the company? The fucking stars, the fucking employees. So how the hell are you going to have a successful company without successful employees? Don't you see the logic there? It's like, I get their logic, like where they're coming from on it. But when you really take a good look at what that logic is, you see how fucking flawed it is. This is why they don't have another Stone Cold. That's because they want... Yeah, there'll never be another Stone Cold. There will never be another Rock. But there could be another A-list superstar. There really could be one. Because there was a John Cena. There was a Batista. That's why we all clamor for them to be back. Okay, yeah, we might never get stars of the caliber of Stone Cold and The Rock again. But we could still get some pretty fucking great stars. We see it from Elias every week. We see the talent that so many of these people have. We see, you know, the feeling you get when someone like Aleister Black pops up on the screen. You know, you get that feeling like this guy deserves to be here. He looks like a star, he acts like a star and all that. And, you know, we get the same feeling when we listen to a Daniel Bryan promo. We're like, wow, this guy sounds excellent. He's playing a character. He's getting a lot of heat. But, you know, it's like they don't want anybody to go beyond that. Like, they'd never want to go full force with everybody. It's like, oh, okay, well, Brian's getting a little bit of heat here. Let's beat him because he's getting a little bit too big for his britches. That's fucking ridiculous. That shit needs to stop, but it won't stop. And here you go, guys. Happy WrestleMania, right? Aren't you looking forward to it? I know I'm not. Anyway, guys, if you haven't subscribed this year already, please do so. You know, we're headed to our WrestleMania review, or I'm sure it's going to be a great review. I don't know about a great show, but it will be a great review. So click the bell so you get all the notifications so you can see that video when I release it. And, you know, guys, it's been your YWC champ, and I'm signing out.